Gracey, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
And let me ask you, why softball for you?
When I was little, my dad told me that I was going to play softball in rec ball with Paul Stutz.
Oh man, Paul Stutz, he's like one of these aces from like the Professional Softball League Association stalwart, Mr. Stutz. Yeah, okay.
And when I first started, I was kind of iffy about whether I wanted to keep playing. And then after the first season, I decided that I really liked it, and I was going to keep playing.
Kind of fell in love with it, then?
I did.
Now, who would you say is a tougher coach, Mr. Stutz or Mr. Albright?
Probably Coach Stutz.
I haven't watched him in too many games. I heard he's kind of a wild man. Now, he's got a couple of daughters too, I think. Mm-hmm. Have you learned anything? Worked with them, any of his daughters?
I have. I've played with both of them. They're both great softball players.
The one daughter used to do some teaching, some personal trainer work over at the batting center, I think.
Mm-hmm. I used to take hitting and pitching lessons from her.
What's her first name?
McKenna.
McKenna, it was like a Michaela and like a McKenna, I think, those two young ladies.
The older one's McKenna, the younger one's Michaela.
What do you do to keep getting your game better year-round? Because you play volleyball too, right?
Yes, sir.
How do you keep getting your softball game better throughout the year?
Like Caroline, I do a lot of off-season work. I train with Carmine at GVC.
That's another name we know, Mr. Pagano. So he does a good job for you then. Do you go in there with the guys and work out in the weights and all stuff at the same time they're in there? You all work together in the same room? And Carmine's got like a plan made out for you to go by?
Yes.
That's not bad at all. I always speak highly of Carmine. So you're training at the batting center some. Now as soon as volleyball's over, do you just like flip that switch and go right into softball next?
To an extent, kind of through the volleyball season, I'm still playing with my travel team and practicing during the week. But once it's done, I do a lot of, I do more like skills work with softball versus just playing games. But
how did your team get better? Now you guys came in last year, we're 8-8. As Mr. Albright, that's your dad, right?
Yes, sir.
As Mr. Ethan Albright mentioned, the team was 8-8 last year. I think you're like 9-10 overall. How did you keep getting better throughout the year? 8-8's not bad for the first year as a new head coach, Mr. Albright taking over. How'd you get better?
We worked really hard in practice, and I think as the season went on, we got more confident in our team and in ourselves as individuals.
What position do you play? Let's get that out of the way too, because Caroline third base and you're where?
Catcher.
Man, that's a tough position. Tough. Do you like it back there?
I do. I like it a lot.
Kind of controlling the game, I guess, to some degree back there. Were you a catcher even back when you were a little girl growing up?
No, I was actually a pitcher.
So you moved from out there to back there. You just completely flipped it around.
Pretty much.
Did it help having been a pitcher? I mean, these are some technical type questions. Did it help someone being a pitcher before becoming a catcher? Maybe give you a little insight about what's going on back there?
It did help a lot. When I was a pitcher, I knew what I wanted in a catcher. So when I became a catcher, I knew like how to help my pitcher out and what really kind of irritates them.
You knew how
what
to
not
work with
to
those
do.
pitchers and probably help them out a little bit, do some of their nuances when they kind of lose control a little bit. You know how to go. You probably knew exactly when to go out and walk out to that mound and talk to that pitcher too. Yeah. Now you wear the mask and you're behind the plate. No fear about being back there. Then no fear at all.
Nope.
How about throwing the ball down to second and try to get the runners there? What do you do? How do you work on that?
Throwing a lot in the backyard.
Get like a target, throw to that target?
I throw to my brothers and my sister. They help me practice a lot.
So they get out in the yard, maybe down like a second baseman or something like that, you throw down to them?
Yes, sir.
So you're working hard that off season, a lot of off season training. Do you love the sport, you think?
I do.
Could we describe it like that? You're in love with that sport? What do you think? Now, Caroline mentioned she's going to go to Liberty. That's one of her goals, and she wants to keep playing softball. What about you? Where do you want to go to college?
Do
you want? I mean, I'm jumping in. I love to jump in. That's one of my favorite things about this show. I get an idea. Do you want to go to Duke? Do you want to go to Carolina? Where do you want to go?
I actually have 3 schools that I really like. I love Duke and Carolina.
Okay.
And Furman.
Furman's in the picture too then.
Yes, sir.
I think they may have be the wild card since you've got so many connections already with Duke and Carolina, with your dad, your uncle, and family all going to those schools. Maybe Furman's the kind of the wild card team.
Yeah, I love them all. I went down to a camp at Furman 2 weekends ago, I think. It might have been last weekend. But I went down there, and the campus is just beautiful. And And I just fell in love with it.
So Furman may be the front runner right now. It's probably going to be that whichever school you visited most recently is going to be that front running team, you think?
Probably.
Yeah. Now you're going to be a junior this coming year?
I'm a sophomore this year.
So you got plenty of time to keep working on it. How tall are you now?
I'm 5'10".
5'10". You don't play any basketball?
No, I did when I was younger in middle school.
And you attend Page?
Yes, sir.
But you don't play basketball?
Nope.
Do you ever get any prod in and say, hey, you need to come out for basketball?
Occasionally.
Yeah. Man, I tell you what, you never know. This is your sophomore year, you decide the junior or senior to play basketball. Always, I guess, a thought maybe about doing that down the road. Who knows?
Possibly. Volleyball, it helps that with volleyball being tall, too.
Yeah, exactly, because you're trying to actually smack the ball down the other girl's throat on the other side, right? What made your team have such a successful volleyball year this year?
We had a really good team chemistry. We all liked each other, and we were really deep, our team. If one girl got hurt, which did happen a few times, then we had another girl that we were equally confident that was going to replace her. We were just as confident that that girl was going to do well.
Now, here's a big one for you, two big questions. Do the Cargo sisters, do they play any volleyball at all?
No.
They don't play that. It's strictly basketball for them? Gosh, you probably know them though, right?
Yes.
Campbell and Bailey, right? Gotcha. Now, the softball season coming up this year, what do you think is going to make this team have the chance to beat Southeast and beat Southern Alabama? What's going to make your team, because you're going to be a sophomore, so you can't be thinking, I'm going to wait till I'm a junior or senior. You want to beat those teams this year. So what's going to make your team have a chance to knock them off this year?
We just have to be confident in ourselves and know that we can beat them. If we're getting ahead, we need to not freak out, and if we're behind, then we need to know that we can come back. We are able to.
What have you learned from your dad? He's brought you up as a young lady, but what have you learned from your dad as a coach?
He's taught me a lot of things. He teaches a lot to be respectful of your other teammates and to put in your work so that you help the team as a whole.
What does the scholastic achievement mean there? What does that mean to you and the team?
It's awesome. It's a 3.5 unweighted GPA or above for 2 consecutive semesters or quarters. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Did you get some recognition for this? I know you did over some of the media. Did they give recognition for you too at the school? Have like a special assembly or anything where they recognize the softball team?
Not necessarily. We had announcements on the TV about it.
Okay.
And a lot of the Twitter stuff they posted on a lot of the Twitter pages.
How does the softball team interact with the baseball team? Because the baseball team's improving some too. How do you girls interact with the guys in the baseball? Is there any interaction at all? Hey, talk about your games and the work you're doing?
Not as much as some sports. Like when it's raining outside, we sometimes have practices in the same gym.
You have to fight who gets that space?
Occasionally.
Where do you end up at? End up in the auxiliary gym or the main gym when you have a rainy day?
There's a batting cage that we can pull up in the auxiliary gym. So
just set that cage up and go ahead and take a few swings inside during those days. Good stuff. Now, you told us for what you're doing now. You're doing some of that work with Carmine. You're at the batting center some now. Taking a couple of college visits. Do you ever get to travel with your dad when he goes to these football games?
Not travel to the school, but I'll go to some of the Carolina games.
Home games in Chapel Hill and enjoy those. Do you get to listen to your dad on the radio when he's doing the games?
I do. My mom especially always has her iPod with her. She tunes it to the radio station and sits there with her earbuds in so she can hear my dad.
Gotcha. Do you get to critique your dad any at all after the games, or?
Not really. He does a good job.
You're happy and pleased with the job? That's good. Now, from the Page standpoint, we talk about you want to go to Furman one day. You want to try to get that record up this season, try to win that conference. Maybe there is a conference tournament, if my memory serves me correctly. I remember the men's tournament last year. It was a heck of a game. I think that was Grimsley versus Page in that championship game, because I think Grimsley knocked off Southeast in the boys semifinals. From your tournament standpoint, how did that go last year?
We won our first game, and then our second game we played Southeast. We were ahead 6-5 in the 5th inning. At the beginning of the 5th inning, by the 6th inning, they got a little ahead of us.
Hairy then, huh?
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, is a good point you brought up. What was the feeling among the team when you grabbed that lead against Southeast? You're up 6-5. Was it get a little out of control? Maybe forgetting about taking care of some of the business that you had to maintain?
Yeah, I think we definitely got excited that we were ahead of Southeast, and we just kind of let our lead
Let
go.
it slip away. Is there anything a pitcher can do in softball to control that game when you get a 6-5 lead? Anything she can do differently? Like say, I'm going to take charge here, maybe pitch a little differently to the other team. Can she do anything?
To an extent, she can hit her spots and stuff, but Kelly normally does a nice job with that. Sometimes if they just get their timing down, that's the downside of not having as many pitchers as some other teams. If they get their timing down, they just start hitting, get a rally going, and it's hard to get outs.
And
once
one pitcher pretty much on your team, was Kelly Lewis?
We actually have a freshman this year, Cameron Graves. She pitches too.
I think Caroline mentioned Cameron Graves earlier too. Does she? I guess from your standpoint, do you play any other positions in case you're called into emergency duty, or always behind the plate?
Me and Cameron, we switch pitching and catching, and when she's not pitching and catching, shortstop and catching, but when she's pitching, I'll catch, and then when she's catching, I'll be at shortstop.
Interesting.
And then when Kelly's pitching, she'll be at shortstop.
So kind of move around a little core group of players there then. What have you learned the most from, you think, as far as the classes go this year at Page? What's your toughest class? What classes are you taking this year?
I'm taking Honors English. I'm taking AP World with Mr. Weeks.
You've got to give that guy a thumbs up. I mean, he must be a pretty good teacher because, Coach Albright's here, your dad, he's got the college education, he's done the work, done the studies. When you get a football coach, in my opinion, is coaching a class like yours, honors class, I mean, you got to give that coach kudos because some people think the football coaches and all the coaches, go to school during the day and kind of lay back and teach the PE classes, but more credit to Mr. Weeks. Continue those classes. Don't mean to interrupt there.
I'm taking AP Statistics. I'm taking honors French, not honors, French 2. I'm taking Wind Ensemble for bands and Earth and Environmental and Honors Chemistry.
What do you think that grade point average is for you these days? Any idea?
Last year, at the end of the year, it was 4.8.
You're trying to catch up with the Haley Green who had that 6.0, huh? Not too shabby there. What will you study when you go to college one day? Is it too soon to be talking about that? You're only probably 15 years old now, sophomore.
Yes, sir.
Do you think beyond what's going to happen down the road? Will you be doing maybe 10 years from now? What kind of work you be doing?
I'm really not sure, but if I had to do something, I would want to probably do something with computers. I would love to design technology or something. Do
some of those major keyboard programs and things like that. Again, with us tonight, it has been Gracey Albright from the Page girls or women's softball team. So you're now working in the off season, take care of business there. Do you take any breaks? I mean, you got any vacation time coming up where you don't do anything at all? Your dad talked about the dead period. Do you have like a period coming up? You say, I'm going to take 3 or 4 weeks off, just do nothing, just relax, take it easy? Or do you try to keep something going with your workouts and things like that year round?
We typically try to stay all the way around, stay working all the way around, but it'll get a little lighter in the winter. We won't go quite as hard around Christmas time.
On a typical day, let's use today for example. I'm going to let you get finished up here. Tell me, what did you do physical fitness-wise today, or training-wise? What was your training routine like today?
Today, I actually did not do much.
Taught you on an off day then?
Yes,
yeah, okay.
you did. But like on Monday, I'll go to school, then I'll go train with Carmine at 6.
That's on Mondays? Gotcha.
I'm actually starting back up with him on Monday.
Gotcha. A day like today, even though you're not doing any training, do you have phys ed class at school? You don't take the phys ed class?
I do not.
So today was kind of a quiet day for you then?
It was.
So there's not, on a given day, you're not going to go out and maybe later tonight, maybe find someone to get a little boxing match, get some exercise in somewhere?
No, I might go in the garage and hit some.
Maybe later tonight?
Yes, sir.
Good stuff. Gracey, thanks for being with us. Good luck for your softball career. And we'll see you maybe with Furman one day, or maybe North Carolina, maybe with Duke. Does your Uncle Stewart ever prod you, say, we'd love to see you go to Duke one day?
Sometimes.
He encourages that direction. Is your dad pushing Carolina pretty hard or no?
Yeah, I grew up brainwashed light blue, so.
I love the way you said that, brainwashed. They pushed you hard, but you got an open mind, right?
Yes, sir.
Who would you? Here's the question I've been asking all throughout this election. If you would have been able to vote, who would you vote for? Tom Tillis or Kay Hagan? Any idea? You saw those commercials on TV hundreds of times.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I might have gone with my younger cousin he did kids voting in elementary school where he goes, and he told me that he didn't vote for either one of them because his grandmother said that you have to have respect, and they aren't being very respectful campaigning against
each other. So you
each
just did the whole decline thing on that voting. That's tough.
He voted for the independent one.
It was Mr. Huff or Mr. Howe or someone like that. That guy got about, I think, maybe 4% of the vote, which was, like your little nephew or cousin, that was probably a lot of people were looking at that during the election. They got fed up with the two candidates, the way that race became so brutal and so bitter during the time, decided to go the other way. Well, hope to see you down the road one day. Keep up the good work. Speak to Mr. Carmine. Tell him we said hello from GraceWorldSports.com. Say hello to Mr. Weeks when you go to class for. Tell him we were promoting his history class at Shane's Ribshack.
Okay.
If you tell him that, it'll be probably a big smile on his face. Thank you so much.